Hey guys, Tammy Sykes here, and I want to talk to you for a few minutes about stress and anxiety in your teenagers. So, have you guys ever used a pressure cooker or like an Instapot? I got one for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I was scared to death of using it. I'd heard all these stories about how it can explode, the pressure gets too big and it's too hot, and if you don't let the steam out enough, it's just going to blow up your entire kitchen. So it sat in the box for months. Then I took it out, read the instructions, and it still sat there for a long time before I was brave enough to use it. And so I feel like that kind of pressure that it uses to cook is a lot like what our teenagers go through today, because they are under so much stress and anxiety, even more than we can imagine, more than we ever had to deal with. I mean, hello, Snapchat. So it's like that for them. They're under all this pressure, and if they don't find a healthy escape, they're gonna explode. And so what can we do to help them get through and navigate those times? Because emotionally, they're really not ready to deal with a lot of the stuff they go through yet. They haven't built up what it takes to face those head on their own. And so first thing we need to know is we need to know there's a difference between stress and anxiety. Now, stress, it can be good actually, because stress is when you've got a situation coming up, like you've got the big game or the big test or something going on, a recital that they're preparing for, and they're under this stress, and it might be the trigger that puts their rear in gear and makes them work harder, practice harder, study harder. But the thing about stress is once that situation is over, usually that stress goes away. Now here's the thing with anxiety. Anxiety isn't temporary. Anxiety is long-term, and it keeps going even after that situation. And with our teenagers, it can lead to health problems. It can lead to relationship issues. It can take them down a path that could be very destructive for them. So how do we help them navigate that? How do we recognize, okay, is this stress over something, or is this something bigger that we need to help them through? We need to get them help for. And so that's really tricky. We're going to upload a couple of conversation guides maybe to help you navigate those with your teens, some ways to open up the doors to conversation, some other resources that can help you recognize that. But here's a couple of things that might help your teens a little bit. One thing you could do is you could, I don't know, help them get up in the morning with a smile on their face. How do you do that? Because, I mean, let's face it, they're teenagers. I mean, how many times do you even see them with a smile on their face? I know my teenagers, I don't see that very often. So how about just slipping an encouraging note and a $5 gift card to Starbucks or Chick-fil-A in their backpack, and just say, hey, thinking about you this morning, hope here's a little something to make you have a good day. Just something to help start their day off right, just for no reason at all, just a surprise. Letting them know you're there for them and you love them and you're thinking about them. Another thing is, maybe at the end of the day, after they've had all these stress triggers hitting them left and right, sit down with them and say, hey, give me something positive that happened today and give me something that really stressed you out. If they seem like they're open for conversation, keep it going a little bit. Ask them, how did that affect their day, the stressful situation, and what did they do to help change that up? And maybe give them a little bit of insight into something that you've dealt with stressfully and how you handle it. Another thing is, everybody needs an escape. A healthy escape. And the thing about it is, when anxiety and stress gets to be to our teens, a lot of times they look for an escape that isn't always healthy. And believe it or not, even your teenager, it's right there waiting for them. All they have to do is take it. So we need to help them find a healthy escape. It's going to look different for your teen. It might be reading. It might be working out. It might be just taking a nap. So we need to let them know it's okay to escape. We need to let them know that we support them when they feel like the pressure is on and they need to escape and they need to let that out, that we can let them miss a couple of hours of school or a couple of hours of practice, whatever they need to have that a healthy escape. We need to support them in that. And just another thing is, ask your teenager what you can do to pray for them. How can you pray for them? And then even pray with them. Some of them, it may be really foreign and they may feel uncomfortable, but if you do it more and more often, eventually they're going to get used to it and maybe open up a little bit more and ask you to pray for them. So those are just things that can help you along. Remember, what might not be a big deal to you could be the whole world to them. And don't ever make them feel inferior or feel like they're just a teenager for the things that bother them. Let them know that what bothers them is important to you. And so just keep the conversations open. Again, we're going to upload a couple of resources for you and just help those teenagers navigate the stressful time of social media comparison and everything else they're dealing with. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later.